I'd like to call a meeting to order. This is the Board of County Commissioners, Sumter County. We are meeting at the Villages. Today is March 17th, 2020 at 4:45. We're meeting at the Village Sumter County Service Center, 7375 Powell Road, room 102, Waldwood, Florida, 34785. We're here to talk about the local state of emergency declaration. Mr. Arnold.
Thank you. You'll see in the packet that it's a single-page local declaration that references the governor's declaration for the state of Florida, as well as the president's declaration for the United States of America, as we try to respond to the concerns raised with COVID-19 and trying to reduce or slow its spread throughout the United States. So right now, there's not anything specifically that we're asking the board to act other than passage of the local state of emergency. It provides us a demarcation point in time, a document that supports as we have any exposure for any of our response activities locally for COVID-19, because we then might be eligible for reimbursement through any federal funds that may be appropriated for this particular disaster. And that's one of the issues that's being discussed at the federal level now. The governor continues to update his directives. There's an order that just came out today that had to do with closing pubs, nightclubs with a specific definition with the state agency to do the enforcement. So that's not a local enforcement responsibility, as well as restaurants limiting its occupancy to 50% of its current building occupancy. And again, state agencies, the listed agency for the enforcement of that, not locally. But that doesn't mean that things may change. And by having that local state of emergency, if the governor so directs us to move forward with any type of actions, we already have your authority through this passage to be able to enact our comprehensive emergency management plan, and our emergency management director can carry forward with those additional directives.
Any questions to the county administrator?
I noticed that this remains in effect for 7 days.
Correct. Anytime you do a local state of emergency, that's the maximum length of time. And the reason for that is to make sure that local governments don't exceed their authority. You have 7 days for the local declaration. You'd have to meet again to be able to extend it. And you'd have to have the justification to support the extension.
Any extension would require us to meet again in this form?
Somewhere, yes.
Somewhere.
And that's also a debate at the present time is through the guidance, not directive, but guidance to limit gatherings. You do not have the authority under Florida statutes to do anything other than have a public meeting to conduct your business. State agencies, certain state entities have the ability to meet via teleconferencing. Local governments cannot. So you can actually have a commissioner call in, listen, talk, but cannot be counted as part of the quorum, nor can they vote by phone. So there's a discussion right now whether the governor will consider waiving that particular statute in this emergency to be able to have the local governments continue to conduct their business. But even in that current discussion, it doesn't resolve the issues related to any public hearings that have to do with supporting the customers and any potential economic impacts for them by delaying those public hearings occurring and the board making a decision on those particular items.
I've had several small store owners ask me about this, and prior to 2 days ago, I had no answer for them, so I'm pleased to see that we're taking these steps. But I believe that opens a certain door to them, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. The governor also passed a bridge loan order, and we do have in this building as our local small business development council. That's one of the things that's been instituted in the past, I don't know, maybe 3 years. So Miguel, who's the director here, is the point person for Sumter County to be able to support any businesses in regard to that specific bridge loan. And as anything comes out of the federal government related to support for small businesses, Miguel will be that direct contact for those businesses.
So any such questions should be referred to?
Yes, and we've actually posted on our website for economic development, and we've already been in consultation with our SBDC locally here. And of course, they are part of the contract that the board has is actually with the University of Central Florida, and they are the entity that has the Small Business Development Council for our area, and we just have that local office to be able to provide convenience for our local businesses.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
What's the state office that's in charge of enforcement for the restaurants?
Yes, sir. It's DBPR, that's the acronym, but I don't want to mess it up. The Department of Business and Professional Regulation.
Keep their phone number handy.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would be pleased to move the state of emergency declaration of Sumter County Board of County Commissioners.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Gilpin, or Commissioner Eden, sorry.
Burgess.
Burgess, second by Commissioner Butler. It's a long day. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign, nay. Passes unanimously, 3-0.
And Chairman, I know that there's some questions related to the board's meeting for the 24th. And as I stated, right now, there's not a lot of, it's a gray area in regard to what we're trying to accomplish by meeting the advice of CDC, et cetera. But even within the CDC website related to mass gathering, there's consideration for postponing or canceling meetings, and some of these are related to number of overall attendees. So the public hearings that have been advertised, we actually have one of our customers that she's bought the mobile home, she's paying rent for its current location, she's waiting for the board to make a decision related to the rezoning. Under our codes, we can't issue a building permit until the zoning's been issued. So I know that there's already a hardship, and that's one of the things that's overall number of attendees. So we've already communicated with Everglades in regard to removing 2/3 of the chairs to be able to provide adequate spacing. And we don't anticipate that we would go over in this particular guidance 250 people for the board meeting. Related to folks that may be at risk, those folks in the communication is already being provided that they may want to stay at home and avoid getting involved in groups. The density of attendees, I've already addressed that related to the potential spacing of the chairs. And this is the big thing, is the potential economic impact to participants, attendees, staff, and the larger community. And that's the part where I can only share with you that we do have, for example, one of the projects that we bid, waiting for the board's decision on, is the Southeast 25th Street on Jumper Creek. We've had that private road, but it's actually a drainage system that Water Management District wants the Board of County Commissioners to address. It has failed during the last hurricane that came through, and so if we miss the opportunity, we may not be able to have that upgraded in regard to the drainage structures before hurricane season. So that poses elimination of access for a good group of residents in that particular area. The public hearing that I've already stated. So we are still in the 0 to minimum level, and so that's what that criteria falls under. Once you move into the minimum to moderate, that's when this discussion about whether the board can meet through other means other than physically is really that next step. But I'm still recommending that the board consider having the meeting on the 24th. Any following meetings, hopefully we'll have some guidance from the governor in regards to suspending the public meetings halls.
Any comments or questions? I asked Mr. Arnold kind of raise that topic to make sure we had consensus one way or the other. It sounds like we have a fair amount of county work business to be accomplished in the next meeting, and it seems to me we probably ought to get it done while we can, because God knows what may transpire.
It'll
after
also
that.
provide you opportunity for the reauthorization of the
Right.
local declaration as well.
Well, we're in a really dynamic time, and so things are continuing to change. I know the legislature's kind of wrapping up now, but they're redoing the budget based on recent events, and I think that's probably going to have
Correct.
some impacts on
And
us
the
as well.
requests that we had for appropriations have already been swept for that
Yeah, swept
purpose.
on.
So,
So is it, I assume the consensus is we continue with our
Yes.
work? Okay.
yes.
Very good.
Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned. We'll stand by to reopen a meeting in 5 o'clock.